Continue to read in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, in the King James Version. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to shew the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will shew the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, The thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream which the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if ye shew the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore shew me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, Let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will shew the interpretation of it. The king answered and said, I know of certainty that ye would gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me. But if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that ye can shew me the interpretation thereof. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, There is not a man upon the earth that can shew the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asked such things at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can shew it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. And he answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, Why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would shew the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of God, of the God of heaven, concerning his secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and the knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will shew unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, The secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers shew unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter, and he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, and that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And whosoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with merry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with merry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel and said, Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods, and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the provinces, or of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Amen. Okay, so there's a lot here. So I'm going to concentrate. This was one of the longer chapters, and so there's a whole bunch of different points in here in this. So one of those things is that it starts out here talking about Nebuchadnezzar the king. So we get more of introduction and how the king is even within his kingdom, how he treats his people, what the king is going through even during this time of all these conquests. And it starts off just in the beginning. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled and his sleep brake from him. And so he was dreaming these dreams and he didn't know what was going on. He felt like these dreams were something about it, something about his life, something telling him about something to happen or what it may be. And he was on the right track, bringing past to present. That happens. Have you ever dreamed a set of dreams, or have you ever had these feelings come up and you don't know why, but there's something about them? You start to search, you start to wonder why it is you're dreaming so vividly, or why it is you are having these thoughts and these feelings and they're repeated, but you're trying to seek out answers. That happens with almost everybody. That happens with people who are saved and not saved. It's typical. And what happened with Nebuchadnezzar? Well, let's continue. He said in verse 2, then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans for to shew the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And then he asked them a question. What did I dream? That's a little bit difficult. So they tried to ask him, well, what did you dream? Let us know. Tell us. But he was in a position of authority that he didn't want to be persuaded. He had the feeling that these things were so powerful. These dreams were so knowledge forthcoming that whatever that he told them could be misinterpreted or interpreted in a specific way as to even manipulate him. Fear. He feared. Here's this great king, and he feared manipulation from the people who he surrounded. He feared what people would think. And so he placed that fear back on these people because it was of them to tell him. Instead of him holding on to this fear, he still feared, but he placed it back on the people. So if they were to say something wrong, then per the laws, per the things that were to be of the kingdom, he could treat as such. He could punish, even though this was out of fear. Wow. Yeah. Nebuchadnezzar, he had issues. He had a lot of issues. So what happens? He gets all these people together and they don't know what to say. Not only that, but they say this has never happened. In the record of this kingdom, this has never happened. This type of question has never been, it's always been someone told us and then we interpret what has been told us. So the king was angry. The king was like, well, what do I have you guys for if you are supposed to be these fortune tellers or these people who know beyond, they're mystics. They're people who know because they utilize or they are spiritual in nature, or they utilize the stars. Remember, the stars point to Christ. So, which we talked about in the previous Bible study. And we'll talk about it again when we get to the New Testament, particularly from the wise men. And so they are seeing these things, right? And they're like, okay, and hearing these things, and they're like, okay, this has never been asked for us. It made the king so angry that he put out an edict, put out a ruling saying that we're going to just do away with the wise men. What's the use if they can't do what they claim that they are supposed to be doing? Remember, this is out of fear because he didn't want to be manipulated. So he wanted the people to tell him what the dream was and then interpret it. Daniel and his friends, remember, they were part of a group that was from the exile. They were from a conquered land. So once again, here they are in a situation. They were put in this position to be taken from exile, but placed into a potential to be of nobility. And now even that placement is in danger. So even that placement, do you think that Daniel and his friends were fearful at the time? Maybe, but they knew who to rely on. So Daniel hears the word from the Arioch, and he tells Arioch that they need time. Let him go to the king and ask for time. They need some time so that they could that they could do what they needed to do for the interpretation of this dream. In verse 16, then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would shew the king the interpretation. Daniel was requesting time because that's what we live in. We live in time. Time is a good thing, and time is also a time that's short. So what did Daniel do wisely with this time? Bring past to present. We make our New Year's resolutions. We make choices and decisions every year. We make goals. We make plots and plannings to get to a certain place. But where are those coming from? Are those coming from our heart desire? Are those coming from tangible things? Are those coming from the things of the flesh? Or are they coming from the things of the spirit? Look at what Daniel did. Then Daniel, in verse 17, then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. They believed that there could be something going on even now within Babylon, that there could be a reason why these wise men, these men were going to be done away with. And so they requested mercy from God. They requested that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret. They were placed in a position. Then that position, even that position itself, became something that wasn't safe for them. So they took it directly to God and asked for mercy. Mercy and his wisdom of this understanding. They went to God. They led themselves. They already believed in the previous decision making that upon faith, their faith, that if they were to have the rations just of their daily bread, their daily stuff that is basic, not of the king's table, but the stuff not of the flesh, not was directed and told that this is what you need to do, but of the spirit, of what they were guided to by the Lord, that exceeded expectations. And now here's another opportunity. Here's another choice. Here is another decision that needs to be made urgently. And they go to God and they give it to God and ask for his mercies and of mercy and wisdom. In verse 19, then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. They knew that there could be a little bit of time needed because this was sudden. So they asked for the time, and the king granted the time because the Lord was already on their side. And the time was needed because the first thing that they were going to do is request mercies and understanding from God. And God granted that to them. He provided the way and the path, and they decided to take the correct path. They decided to follow God in his planning for them in their life, and not what they had, what was being told to them, what they could have done. There's a whole bunch of easy routes that they could have took. They could have even fled. They could have even booked it out of there. Said, hey, you know what? Let's take a hike. But they didn't. They knew that the Lord, by having faith, was with them, and they strengthened themselves in the faith by going directly to God. And God revealed all. He gave them the dream itself, the whole vision, and the interpretation of the dream. And Daniel was able to provide that to them, to the king directly. And so think about that. We may make plans, we may see our own visions of what our life may be. And think about those things, because you may get into a place where you are hurt, you are in pain, you are conflicted, you are ashamed, you are what have you, because either you're not on track for your goal or plan, or you're not where you think you should have been or were supposed to be in life, or you obtain it, but it just feels empty. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like something is correct about it. Again, where do our priorities lie? Do they align with the flesh and what's earthly and what's being told? This is what you need to do, and this is what you need, and this is how you need to live, and this is what you need to be? Or is it of God, of the Holy Spirit, of our Emmanuel, of Christ, where his guidance of love, of truth, of being able to discern ourselves, being able to be guided by him and following his voice and his word and seeing his path and following along with him, bearing the good fruits of the Spirit, of joy, of love, of loving thy neighbor, of giving, you name it, in the fulfillment through the Holy Spirit. Before we go on, though, to the next point, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?